Hi there, welcome to LSAT Demon Daily. I'm Josh Mansfield, a teacher with the Demon, and with me is Nathan Fox, one of the founders of LSATdemon.com and the weekly podcast Thinking LSAT. Nate, today's email, how many practice tests from Micah? Micah?
Hi, Demon Team. I'm currently scoring -3 on LR and -2 on reading comp in timed sections. I'm planning to take the LSAT in June, and my goal is a 170 plus. I mean, you're basically already there. You're missing a total of 8 on your tests. You're right on the cusp, at least, of 170. Maybe you're not quite there, but you're damn near there.
Yeah.
Mika says, I was wondering how many full-length practice tests you'd recommend before then. I've found that doing time sections has been the most helpful for improving, so I want to continue focusing on those. But I also want to make sure I'm building the stamina and confidence needed for the full test. Thanks so much, Mika. Stamina?
If you're doing the LSAT the right way, you're going to be in okay shape. Like the stamina,
Yeah.
You don't need this. This is something I see with students all the time. It's actually one of the most common questions I get. A month out before a test, students go, "Oh, so I should start doing 2 times a week practice tests now, right?"
Mm-mm.
And I'm like, "No, why? Like, don't stop doing the things that you've been doing that have been working, right?" The best thing you can do now, Mika, is if you say yourself, I found that doing time sections has been the most helpful for improving. So take these next 6 weeks and keep improving. Don't pivot that. Do exactly what you're doing. You've gotten to almost your goal score already. Let's get you into doing only -1 to -2 per section on all of them. Like, don't change what works. Don't change what works.
Couldn't agree more. You're killing it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not a test of endurance. I understand that it's tiring if you suck at it. Mika, you definitely don't suck at it. Keep getting better and better at those time sections. You'll have no problem doing 4 time sections in a row. I mean, on the day of the test, it's 4 times 35 minutes, and you get a 10-minute break in between section 2 and section 3. The whole thing takes 2.5 hours. The whole thing is 2.5 hours. It is not a test of endurance. If you were running for 2.5 hours, yeah. Like if you were playing basketball for 2.5 hours, yeah. But the LSAT is like shooting free throws for 2.5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not like if you're good at shooting free throws, you can shoot a bunch of free throws and then come back and shoot a bunch more free throws and then come back and shoot a bunch more free throws. That's what this really is.
I will say, I have some students who obsess over this idea, like I have to be comfortable for it. And what I tell them to do, just study in blocks that mirror the test then.
2.5 hours.
Do 70 minutes, take a 10-minute break, do 70 more minutes, and that's your studying on a Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
But do time sections, do drilling, do whatever.
Well, and if you insist, then just fine, do a full test. And at Mika's level, right, Mika's going to do a full test and miss 8 questions. So now Mika has to review 8 questions, which might take an hour to review, but we're still only looking at 3.5 hours start to finish for Mika. Fine. If you've got half a day and that's what you're going to do today, then great. Perfect. Just don't think that you have to do that multiple times a week. You don't even have to do that multiple times a month. Someone at Mika's level, if you're close to 170 or if you're already in the 170s, it's not that big of a deal because you're not making very many mistakes, but it would be a really bad idea. Probably, Josh, the very students that you're talking about, the ones that are really worried about it. Oh, I got to build up my stamina. Got to make sure I do a full practice test. Not if you're getting 150. I mean, if you're getting 150, you're missing like 30 questions or more. And
stamina is not the problem.
The stamina is not your problem. Your problem is you're making way too many silly mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got to learn to stop making those mistakes. You can learn that lesson in 35-minute bursts. I did almost no full tests before I sat for my real test. But I did lots of 35-minute sections so that I knew what I had to do in the 35 minutes. Practice timed sections, basically just ignore the clock though, because all you're really trying to do is just solve one question, then solve the next question. I think for somebody like Mika, I would probably say no more than 1 full test a week.
Yeah.
And you definitely have to review your mistakes. If you're not going to have time to do a full test and review your mistakes, why are you doing a full test? Just do a section and review.
Other thing, Mika, it says confidence in here. Man, it's so hard to break the attitude that the real test is different than your practice tests, which are different than your time sections, which are different than your individual drilling.
Yeah.
Like, it's the same thing. You do one question at a time. You do it exactly like you've been practicing. Do not treat that official test any different than you treat your practice tests in your time section.
It's probably the best way to have the actual confidence on the day of the test is that you just walk in there going, all right, I've done this before.
Right.
It's just another practice test.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm doing time sections.
Sorry for golf again, but the Masters was yesterday and Josh is a golfer. Watching Justin Rose and Rory McIlroy go back to the 18th tee yesterday to play their sudden death playoff. My buddy was texting me like, oh man, I feel bad for these guys. This is nerve wracking. Yeah, but maybe not if you're Justin Rose and Rory McIlroy. I mean, they've both won majors before. They both practice every damn day for their whole life. They've hit that 18th tee shot at Augusta. Well, they've already done it 4 times during this tournament, plus however many times during the practice round, plus guaranteed, Justin Rose is sitting there waiting for maybe the playoff that's about to start. He's just pounding drivers, just rehearsing the exact shot that he's about to hit.
He didn't like play a hole. He drilled.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He went to the driving range.
He wasn't like calling up the pro shop like, hey, is any chance I could sneak out off? I want to get in.
Can I play behind him?
He like runs around, runs around, plays another 18 holes. No. He was hydrating and, getting his snack and saying hi to his wife and hitting that tee shot on 18, just sort of rehearsing that tee shot. When you go in to take the real LSAT, that's how you should feel about it. It should just be like, okay, yeah, I've done this a million times. Yes, today's one is the one that counts. Like, yes, fine. The sudden death playoff hole does count in that moment more than anything else has ever counted. But still, it's the same shit. It's the same shit you've done a million times. You just got to go do it again.
Same swing.
I mean, like the wind will be slightly different. The bounce that you get is going to be slightly different. You're going to end up with like slightly different circumstances every time. But yeah, you're just, it's not a different golf swing. Mm-mm. I mean, you hope it's not a different golf swing.
I would say, in fact, if it is, you're in trouble.
Yeah, no, you never would be there in the first place if you were the type of person who has a different golf swing on the day of the tournament.
Yeah.
You try for something different on the day, you're going to get something different and it's not going to be in your favor. It's going to be something bad different.
Yeah.
So we treat our practice tests like seriously because we're going to treat our official test seriously. But then we treat our official test like we treat our practice tests, which is like, yeah, okay, I'm going to try my hardest. I mean, I'm going to like read it carefully. I'm going to expect that I can solve this question because I know I can. I've done it a million times.
Yep.
And so there's no difference on the real test is just different questions, but it's the same test and it's the same type of questions. It's the exact same type of shit. I have to read each sentence. I have to understand how the sentences go together. I have to understand what question they're asking me. I have to understand how the right answer actually answers the question. Mm-hmm. And you just don't do anything different in your practice than you're going to do on the day of the game.
To that point, the one thing I did, and I actually did it in my practice test as well, but I you know how they say golf swing thoughts? You have one swing thought. You're allowed to think about one thing.
One or zero.
Or zero.
Yeah.
My timer started. I grabbed my scratch paper. I wrote down predict every question on my paper, and I put it in front of me, and that was it. Right? A reminder to just do the same thing that I do on every practice test, on every time section.
Yep.
That's it.
Love it. Anything more for Mika?
No, thanks for writing in, Mika. You're going to kill it. You're in great shape.
Email daily@lsatdemon.com if you would like to ask us a question or share some LSAT or law school admissions news. Thanks for listening.